Welcome back. Counting down to pre-open looks like a bit of a flat start, and then we'll build on from there. From the Motilal Oswal conference, we now have Navin Agrawal joining us, MD of Motilal Oswal Financial Services. Navin, good morning. What was the key highlight of day one of your conference, apart from Akshay Kumar, of course?
Yeah, the key highlight of the conference was the panel discussion actually hosted by Lata yesterday, where we had 4 challengers among the private financials, 2 new generation banks and 2 non-banking companies. They basically laid to rest any doubts about their ability to grow by 25–30% in an environment where credit growth is slow or the economic growth is missing or slowing down. And that is something that was very well received and quite interesting. We also had CRISIL, Ashu Suyash, the CEO, present and talk about their expectation of a single-digit earnings growth in FY18 and growth unlikely to go to double-digit till the investment cycle really picks up. Asset quality problems likely to continue to remain elevated. ICICI presentation was one of the highlights of the day yesterday. Chanda Kochhar spoke about 3 aspects of ICICI. The subsidiaries which are doing really well on the back of financialization of savings, the liability side which is doing very well on the back of rising retail deposits and CASA deposits at 78% and 45% respectively, and the asset side where recognition of NPLs is now well known, but the whole resolution and recovery exercise is underway. But more importantly, the mix is anyways changing in favor of retail. So that remains one of our top picks within the private banking space, and that confidence only got reiterated after the presentation. The last important presentation that I'd like to highlight was the debut presentation by Mr. Harimohan Bangur from Shree Cement. They're one of the best performing cement companies, both fundamentally as well as stock-wise. Stocks have been compounding at 40–50% for over a decade now, and he articulated how the limestone availability in India can only produce 500 million tons of cement, and for the first time they articulated their ambition to potentially go global once they have exhausted all their options of organic growth within India. So a whole bunch of very exciting CEO track presentations yesterday.
Okay. Morning, Naveen. Yes, it was a very interesting conversation yesterday. But the prime themes that I got from your seminar yesterday is consumption is steady and funding to consumption is steady, like retail loans. Did you get any sense what is the next best sector?
Actually more challenges than opportunities came to the fore. There was clarity that there are there's no visibility of capex recovery. That was something which was clear. There was no clarity on resolution of asset quality problems, at least for the state-owned banks. That was something that remained a question mark. As far as the healthcare sector is concerned, we were very surprised to hear a potential low 20% EBITDA margin outlook by Lupin versus 30% that they reported last year, and huge challenges on the generics front. So I think overall you're absolutely right. The consumption related restocking and recovery on a low base and private financials continuing to take market share away and grow robustly are, I would say, among the fewer themes that were available. Aside of this, HPCL CEO track presentation was again about how India's overall energy consumption is a fourth of the global averages, and strong growth likely to continue, and within that retail continuing to drive profitability for them. But these are few and very limited, I would say. But overall, there were continued concerns about slowdown in growth and capex overall for the economy.
Media stocks are all up and about. You all have any theme like that? Did you even accidentally meet any of them as an audience in your seminar?
Z Telefilms was present at the conference yesterday, and they spoke about expectations of recovery in the second half of the year.
Navin, in the challenging times faced by infrastructure companies on account of slower capex, or the pharmaceutical companies where there is pressure on the margins, the investors you'll speak with, both domestic as well as foreign investors, are they spotting any stock opportunity or sector opportunity in these challenging times?
There are never any dearth of these bottom-up opportunities. So, as we discussed, even within the headwinded pharmaceutical sectors, those companies which do not have the baggage of the US generics market and now are actually a beneficiary, of the accelerated approvals under GDUFA. They have basically two benefits. You don't have a legacy base that is attriting like it is for the dominant players, and you have the acceleration in approvals and filings. So in the same time that some of the companies, bigger companies, are suffering, you have others who are benefiting at the very same time. So it is exactly like the value migration from the PSU banks to the private financials. In almost every sector you have stories like this where there are some other beneficiaries at the same time, and that is where the 6,000 listed companies, the huge bottom-up market that we offer, a 15-20 stock portfolio continues to be easy to construct with a potential earnings growth of 20%.
You also have the former army chief as well, of course, Navin. Defense as a theme, we've spoken about it for long, but do you think it has enough place in the listed space?
You're right. There are a limited plays. One of our favorite, defense plays in India is Bharat Electronics. But the objective of the Army Chief, ex-Army Chief presentation today at the conference is more to understand and get perspectives on the India-China standoff that we saw recently, whether it is behind us, whether it could resurface, and how should one think about that. So we are hoping to get some glimpse into that from this thematic presentation today, lined up during the this is actually lined up tomorrow in the afternoon.
Okay, Navin, thank you very much for your time this morning. We'll keep chatting with you through the course of the conference to get in the insights and the perspective that you've gotten from the experts there. By the way, pre-opening rates are coming in.